Hello everyone, this is Jake from Down the Weeboo Hole, and today it's time for another anime top 10. One of the best aspects of a shonen battle series are the fights, and the Naruto series is just full of them. Today, I want to discuss my top 10 favorite Naruto fights. This list will consist of fights from both the original and Shippuden series. When picking the choices for this list, I took many factors into consideration. Not only did I look at animation and choreography, but I also looked at how important these fights are to the characters. A good fight for me needs to have stakes and it needs to have emotion behind it. That's what gets me invested. Incredible animation is just icing on the cake. So my choices might be different from your choices, so be sure to tell me your favorite Naruto fights in the comments below. And if you have ideas for other top 10s, be sure to tell me as well. Now, let's get this list started.
私はナルト君が大好きだから。
Although I enjoyed the Naruto vs. Pain fight, I found that someone else stole the spotlight during their confrontation. I remember seeing Naruto pinned to the ground and being shocked when I saw that it was Hinata who came to his rescue. This was the moment that convinced me that Hinata loved Naruto. Hinata knows she can't beat Pain, but she isn't going to watch someone she cares about die. The fight isn't long, and Hinata doesn't do much damage to Pain, but it was so nice seeing our shy little Hinata try to take on such a threatening force. I gained so much respect for Hinata during this fight, and it made me realize why so many people love her.
Pain. それは俺たち6人全員を指し示す呼び名だ。
This has to be the creepiest fight in the entire series. Watching Jiraiya be hunted down by Pain was terrifying to watch. The summons Pain uses are super creepy. They're all deformed looking animals with black rods stuck in their faces. Not to mention that all the Pains are creepy looking too, with their soulless purple eyes. Jiraiya does his best to defend himself using Sage Mode, but he's overwhelmed by Pain, and it's really tragic watching Jiraiya be killed by his former student. This fight is filled with mystery and established Pain as a powerful threat. It also really made me want to see Naruto take this guy down and avenge Jiraiya. When I was watching the original Naruto series, I was sure Sasuke was going to fight Itachi very late in Shippuden, and I was completely wrong. Sasuke fights Itachi pretty early on, but luckily the fight is still awesome. The fight begins with Itachi using Genjutsu against Sasuke, which led me to question everything I was seeing. The fight concludes with Itachi removing Orochimaru from Sasuke, and I laughed so hard when I saw Orochimaru slithering out of the snake's mouth. I love how when you look back at this fight, you see how Itachi was trying to help Sasuke the whole time. Itachi really is a good brother. Also, the last moment of this fight is one of the most beautiful moments in the entire series.
Madara.
Now this is how you introduce a character. Madara was described as a powerful character throughout the series, and we can see that evidently by how he just completely destroys the Alliance. You can just tell the animators were having a blast animating Madara beating up all these ninjas, and I think that energy transfers to the viewer. I mentioned that my choices were mostly chosen because of the emotion behind these fights, but watching Madara taking down a bunch of no-name fodder is just too fun to watch. Madara also drops a giant rock on everyone, and that's just awesome. And then he drops another one. Now we're talking. It's time to give the original Naruto series some love. During the Chunin exam arc, Gaara has been a destructive threat. We've seen him kill a bunch of ninjas, he defeated Lee, and even Sasuke couldn't beat him, and then Naruto was able to take him down. This is one of the most satisfying fights in the entire series in my opinion. Watching Naruto show off everything he learned up to that point just kept the fight so engaging. I loved it when Naruto summoned a ridiculous amount of shadow clones and used a good old Naruto barrage against Gaara. Also, one of the hypest moments for me was when the Toad Boss turned into a freaking nine-tailed fox. This fight did a fantastic job at showing us just how far Naruto has come.
何でもできるお前が羨ましくって、俺は勝手にお前を俺のライバルに決めた。
The final fight in the series, and also one of the best. Naruto vs Sasuke definitely makes up for that embarrassing Kaguya fight. Watching these two duke it out using everything they have is just a thrill to watch. You really feel the strength these two have gained over the series, especially when you see Sasuke using Indra Susanoo and Naruto using Ashura Kurama mode. But my favorite moment of the fight is when the two of them are completely exhausted and are fighting hand to hand. Neither of them are going to give up, and the fight ends with them using the same attacks they used when they fought as kids. I've been waiting for this rematch since the beginning of Shippuden, and I'm glad to say that it lived up to my expectations.
少しくらいの重りを外したところでガーラの砂についていけるわけが。
You know this had to be on the list. It's amazing that this fight occurs so early on in the series and is still regarded as one of the best. This fight is just so beautifully animated, and I love that it plays with your expectations. Nothing is cooler than when Lee takes off those weights and starts kicking Gaara's ass. Gaara at this point feels like an unstoppable force, and to have Lee take him down a few pegs felt so satisfying. However, it's frustrating watching Lee still lose against Gaara. I really wanted Lee to win. But what's even more frustrating is that Lee never surpasses this moment in the series. Lee peaks so early on, and it's just so sad. I expected so much more from him. This is probably the best animated fight in the series, and it also has so much emotion behind it. Kakashi has always been one of my favorite characters in the series, and I'm glad that he has a proper one-on-one fight against Obito. I love how this fight switches between the fight they're having now and the fight they had as kids. The fight is short but sweet, that features a lot of hand-to-hand combat, which gives the whole fight a more intimate feel. The music is also incredible, giving the fight a solemn tone. These are two men who haven't seen each other in years and are now in a fight to the death. It's a very dramatic and expertly executed fight. This fight is so high on my list due to how well this entire conflict was executed. We first see Azuma die due to Hidan's insane power. We then get my favorite episode in the entire series, with Shikamaru dealing with grief, and then we quickly get a rematch and Shikamaru is able to avenge Asuma. The fight is not the most impressive. We do get that epic scene where Shikamaru tricks Hidan into stabbing Kakuzu, but for me, it just felt so cathartic, seeing Hidan covered in bombs, and having Shikamaru use Azuma's lighter to blow him up into a bunch of pieces. And then to top it off, we have Shikamaru leave Hidan in a hole to slowly die. It was just perfect. This fight is the perfect combination of animation, choreography, stakes, and emotion. Watching Naruto and Sasuke fight as kids is heartbreaking. Both of them hold nothing back and use all their techniques that they have against each other. I prefer this fight a lot more than when they fight in Shippuden, because this fight has more hand-to-hand combat, and I just feel like the stakes are more personal. Naruto just wants to bring his friend back to the Leaf Village, and I was rooting for him the whole time. The set piece for this fight is also great. Having the two of them fight at the Valley of the End just feels like an appropriate setting for such a grandiose confrontation. This fight was the perfect way to end the original Naruto series, and I think it was pulled off perfectly. This has been Jake from Down the Weeaboo Hole, and Naruto vs Sasuke from the original Naruto series is my favorite Naruto fight.